thanks for dropping by. I Can't Let Her Die DIY. You found this video, you found this channel, you must have a Chevy Colorado or a GMC Canyon or maybe even a Hummer. That's what this is, a 2005 Chevy Colorado. It is what, 17 years old? I got 421,000 kilometers on it, trying to make it to 500,000. It's doing pretty good, working quite well, but we got an issue. We're back at it. Come check this out. Just driving around, everything working perfectly on the truck, and the next thing you know, my windshield wipers stopped working. But not both of them. One stops working. Check that out. What's going on with that? This is what happens. It's year 17, 421,000 kilometers. Start running into problems with the windshield wipers. I have no idea what it is. We're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out today. I'm going to throw in some old clothes because I may be getting dirty here. If you want to throw in some clothes and join me on this job, or grab some popcorn in a chair and watch me get down and dirty on these windshield wipers. What the heck is wrong with those? What is wrong with this? That is a great question. I mean, this windshield wiper, the driver's side, is working perfectly. Cycling through the way it should, sounds good, everything's good. This one is not. Look, I can do this. So we got issues. We got major issues. And it's not, because this one's working perfectly, the driver's side, we know the motor works, the wiring going to the motor, the fuse, everything's working there. So the problem is between the motor and right here. We'll go with the easiest possible problem that's causing this. Could this wiper be loose? We'll check that first and we'll go from there. So let's take a look at this. We got a 15 millimeter nut here, right, that holds this wiper arm on. And when you rotate it, if you see, first thing I see is that this pivoting point here rotates with it, which is normal. It should. That's what rotates the arm. That's what rotates the windshield wiper. So the motor turns that post, and the post with the splines on it and the nut turns the windshield wiper. So it rotates it. So it's not that. It's not a loose nut, and it doesn't appear to be stripped. So the problem lies in between this, which is working properly, this post, this nut, this wiper, and the motor, which also appears to be working properly. Somewhere's in there. So we're going to have to go deep. We're going deep, folks. We have to go in underneath this cowl and see what part has failed. I'm going in. Cover me. Let's pop this hood and let's get in here. All right. This is going to be fun. Now, we got issues, but I'm confident that you can do it. You got this. I'm reasonably confident that I can do it, but we'll see here. We'll see here shortly. So I think we can get at it with the hood up right there and see what's going on. So with your 15 millimeter, and if you see, I put this truck in last night. I knew I was working on this. I did give these a spray of WD-40. I like to do that if I think I'm going to have to undo any nuts where this truck is 17 years old. Right? Oh, wow. WD-40 made that very easy. Wow. Incredibly easy. I thought I'd get a lot more fight than that. I've never had these off. That doesn't mean this is coming off. Oh, we got movement. Oh, look at that. Not too bad. Can you zoom in on that? That looks pretty good. Like I said, it wasn't slipping on this post. There's the splines. You can see those. There's the threads for the nut. And that seems secure. I can hear it hitting the arm on there. Seems like it's come disconnected from the transmission linkage between the motor and here. That's what it seems to be going on there. But we don't know for sure until we take a look. So let's get this thing off. Save your nut. So I'm looking at this cowl and it has clips. It has clips there, 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 and there. There's 5 or 6 clips there, push pins. And this one's missing, which reminds me, now I know why that windshield wiper came off so easily. It has been off before. You have to remove the windshield wipers to replace the windshield. And I've had this windshield replaced 2 or 3 times over 17 years. So, and they obviously did not get the pin put back in because it's missing there. But there's one there, a loose one. So let's see how hard that's going to be. Got the light on it here. I like these little, these are for C-clips. And they work pretty good for these. That's getting beat up, but it's still good. We'll save that. So we'll take out all your clips and get this cowl off. Now I think there's some clips underneath this, so try to pull it straight up. There. Been off a few times, so mine comes off easily. There's probably some clips missing or broken. It seems to work all right. So this cowl goes around your antenna over there, so you can't totally remove it without removing your antenna. But we can just slide it up the windshield like that out of my way. So that's good enough, just like that. Get this out of our way for good. Just like that. Duct tape. It's never a job I don't use this. Okay, we're back on the driver's side again. If you look down in here underneath that cowl, you will see the transmission linkage. So that is the windshield wiper transmission linkage from goes from the motor, which is right there. That's the motor. There's the post coming off the motor that rotates. So this would go back and forth like that, and this bar here goes to this post, that windshield wipers, driver's side, and then passenger side way over here like that. And you can see down in here that this one here is off. This is off, so there's the problem right down in here. You can probably see it better from the other side. Let's scoot over to the passenger side and look in through this hole, and you'll see what I'm talking about. On the passenger side here, you're looking down underneath the cowl, and you can see right there, there's the windshield wiper, passenger side windshield wiper post that was working properly, and down there, this arm should be attached there, and there should be a bushing on there. So that right there should be on that arm. So if we rotate this a little bit, like that, I don't know if you can still see it, but that should be on there. So I can put that on like that, and try to fasten that somehow, right? We can fasten that somehow and have it still be able to rotate, but I'm going to have to take the whole mechanism out to get my hands in there to access it. So that would be a temporary fix if we needed to temporarily fix it. I know some people will zip tie it together up in that position. But I like this truck. I want to keep this truck, and I don't really want this problem to come back. I don't want to have to redo this So I think the best thing is to get this windshield wiper transmission linkage and replace the whole thing. Because if this one went, there's a few more bushings in here, like right there. Maybe that one's gonna go next month. There's another one down there. You know what I mean? They're just worn out. They weren't abused, but 421,000 kilometers, and we live in a high precipitation area, a lot of snow, a lot of rain, so I use it. Hasn't been abused, but time to get a new part. So there's the old transmission linkage. The motor's there. It's connected right there, and here's the new one. So it's positioned like this. Motor comes up through there. It's secured down by these 4 screws. The post comes up there, and this would look like this. And there's your action, right? So if you so this would rotate, right? As that motor rotates that, just like this, you can see the windshield wipers go back and forth like that, right? So it's this bushing right here that failed. That linkage failed. It looks like we got 2 10mm bolts holding this linkage on, right here and on the other side. So Chevy seems to like the 10mm. Putting an extender on there makes it a little easier. Down here, so right from this post, directly below the post, you can see where the wire going to the motor comes out here, and there's a convenient plug right there. It just pulls apart like that. It is a 4-prong plug. There's a little grommet in here. Push that through, because we're going out this way. So we're going to push this wire and plug in there. Push it in there, like so. And now, let's see if we can manipulate this bad boy out of here. Let's turn this way. Gets that out a lot easier. And let's try to work it towards the passenger side a little bit. And the motor. To the driver's side, and then rotate it a little bit, and it's getting in there, and there, and a complete rotation, and out it goes. A little fight there. But if you manipulate it properly, you should be able to get it out. Okay, I've relocated you to my workbench now, where I have the old linkage, transmission linkage, and the new replacement transmission linkage. So we need to take some parts off of the old one that we're going to need for the new one, like these 2 10mm screws. They can come off. I'll put those aside. We're going to need them. And I did notice this doesn't come with the new part. So that looks like cushioning thing. So we'll put it right there where that is. The rest looks identical. We do need the motor. The motor is good. We know that. So we're going to cut these zip ties here, and we're going to undo these 3 bolts there that holds this motor on, because we want the motor. Cut the clips, don't cut the wire. There's that. And we got more 10mm bolts.
think it's 10 mil. Let's check it out. Yep. And they're not on tight, folks. So far we've been really good with tight bolts, because this has never been off before. We know that. Okay, with your 13 stubby wrench, I think if we get this off, we can access this. Well, that's pretty good there. And that's on tight. I knew we were going to have one that gives us some trouble. We got some fight to this one, folks. 13 millimeters. Let's hit it with the WD-40. I got it. Bolts and washer. Set that aside. We're going to need that too. Off. It should pop right off. Should. Pry that off, and then it should be easy to get at these. And voila, we have our motor. Beautiful. Nothing wrong with that puppy. It's in good shape, right? Okay, so now that we got the bolts off of those, the end pieces, and these bolts that hold on to the motor, and we got the motor off, and we got that nut that holds the motor post to the linkage, we got that off, and we also got this off of the old one. Now, we don't need this. So guess what? Because this has a failed bushing right there, and I suspect the rest of the bushings are going to fail, and these linkages are going to start failing because it's worn out, this is destined for the dump. And you know, this is the best part of every video. Done. Destined for the dump. Smoking. Okay, so the motor goes on like this, same way we found it. I think we can get to these bolts easier with this out of the way. That goes on like that. So we'll just snap these out while it's good and easy, because we like easy. Not too easy, it's nice to have some challenge, but GM always gives us enough challenge. We don't have to worry about that. And do not cross thread them. Put them on with your fingers, they should go on. They came off, finger easy, they should go on finger easy, part way. Do not cross thread things. It's easy to do. There. They go on that far and then they start getting hard. So we will go to our trusty handy dandy ratcheting sockets. And now that goes on like that, right? And we saved our washer and the nut. Now I usually put Loctite on this, the medium grade, just so that any nuts like this do not back up. I am totally out. I have no Loctite here. So I'm going to go, this is a tire crayon for marking tires. It's like, it has a wax component to it, and that is what Loctite is, mostly wax. So I'm going to try this. I'm just going to put some of that on there. That'll get in the grooves there and help secure that so that doesn't back up. If you don't have it, you don't really need it. The other thing you can do is put a drop of glue on there as well. It never loosened up, so I don't think this is prone to loosening anyway. So we'll tighten this down. Now this was on quite tight when we found it, so I'd like to duplicate the tightness. I think I want this on a little tighter, so I'm going to use the 6-inch box wrench and hold it and give her pretty much as tight as I can get it with the 6-inch. That way it's too tight to get off with the 4-inch stubby. And that's how tight I'm going with. So that does rotate, looks nice. And the other zip tie. And that's the way we found it, just like that. Okay, a helpful hint on install. When you're installing this, make sure this rubber piece right here lies in between the two pieces of steel on the inside of the engine bay, right? It's very easy to install it thinking that this bar goes in between there, but it doesn't. That bar goes above the two pieces of steel on an angle sort of like this. This rubber sits in there and it gives it more security, right? More flex. So it sits in between those two pieces of steel. Make sure you get that. And if you need more room, you can lift the hood higher than the hood latch allows. So you know where it rests on the latch, if you open the hood even further, it expands that gap, giving you more room to install this. Manipulate this into position. 2 helpful hints just for you from Can't Let Her Die DIY. Let's get this installed. Okay, since we have the cowl off and this mechanism all out of here, it's a great opportunity to hit it with a Terminator dielectric spray and corrosion protection. I kind of like to do that when I get in here at any of these cavities. I don't see any reason why this would ruin anything. There's nothing down in there. And it does look pretty good anyway. No visible rust, but great opportunity to get in there and give it just a little coating. Keep this truck going for years and years. Just like that. Look at that. Brand new in there. Hard to believe that's a 17-year-old original paint. Anyway. And give a little bit here and there and all over the place. So it's quite a trick to get this in. You just have to do it exactly the way you pulled it out. So I believe it was a full rotation almost. So if you stick that part in, or like that, and slide her right over. Now I just got to get that tip in there. I don't know how I did that. Let's pull this off before we lose this. We lost it. There we go. Yeah, I'll rotate it back the other way. Yeah, that's it. Rotate it the other way. Your wire down, push your wire through in the grommet. There. Just like that. And now we got it all in except for that one piece. And that. So once you get it past there, I think we're in. And that looks about right. Right there, we got the wire on. Now we got to put the two bolts in here and over there. So you kind of put it in this way and then like that with a rotation, 3/4 rotation. Exactly same way you pulled it out. So take a mental note as you're pulling that out, exactly how to get it back in. Did you save your 10mm bolts? Hope so, because they go right there. And don't forget this. That goes just like that. Beautiful. Plug that plug in. It just snaps in. Just like that. You hear it when it snaps. That's good. The grommets in there. Tight. Preventing any water from going in there. That's good. Now what I want to do, because we did rotate that a little bit, have that motor off, I want to make sure the motor is set in the right position. Right? So I'm going to turn on the windshield wipers, let it go through one cycle. So I'm going to make sure it's in the resting position. If you want to focus in on there, I will just turn on the wipers. Okay, now we got to set the transmission leakage. We want it to be in the resting position. So right here, if you look in here, it is not in the resting position. If you installed it, left it like this, when you turn it on, the blades, this blade over here would go down a little bit and then up. Would go down 4 inches and then go up. Which is a problem because this should be exactly parallel to the windshield. Should be right there. See, it's going to go this way. It's going to pull that down, rotate that a little bit down before it goes the proper way. So we have to reset that. It's simple. Unscrew this. Rotate that so that's perpendicular like that, and then we should be good. So I took the 13mm nut off of here, and now if you pry under there and pop that up, right? We know the motor is in the resting position, but the linkage transmission is not. That's the problem. So we will rotate this and put this in the resting position, which is in its furthest position. This arm has to be furthest that way. Now it will not go down. So if we slide that on, and now we got to put the nut on there, right there in that position, which is a little tricky, but not too tricky for us. Now I have my tire crayon thread locker that I made up. It's essentially wax, but I had to run down anyway to the store, so I picked up some thread locker here. So this is medium bond thread locker, just to make sure I got enough on there. The washer. Try to give us a little room here, sort of like that. Get in there. And here we go. And now we want to make sure that's in that position there. And we can barely get our and bolt it down. We do not want that to move. That's nice and tight. There. So the motor is set in the proper resting spot. The linkage right now is in the proper resting spot. And now the last thing to do is to install the wiper blades in the proper resting spot at the bottom of the windshield. When you have all three in the proper spots, you'll get the uniform proper motion. So that's what we got to do next. Put on the blades. Now let's get this cowl back in position, give it a little flex there. And she should fit right in there. We do have some push pins here. Now the driver's side windshield wiper is a little longer here than the other one, so that's how you know which is which. And it has splines on it, so line those splines up, sorta. And we want this positioned about there. Hey, now it comes time to test it. This is going to be great. So in case you do have something misaligned, you better test it in this position. Right? In case these aren't going in synchronicity, but they should. Hey, it is looking good. That tested well. You got this. This is not hard. You can do it. There's a couple of tricky spots. Make sure you got it set right. Other than that, you're good to go. Thanks for watching. We've got more videos coming.